Hi class, it's time to put it all together. We're going to put together the production substitution effect, the consumption substitution effect, and the income effect. Remember, we're looking at a model of household time, market time, and leisure time. So, let's start. We want to look at household time, market work, and leisure. And we're looking at comparative statics of a change in the wage rate. The wage rate is the price of leisure. And this is what you have to remember. The wage rate is the price of leisure, or the opportunity cost of taking or foregoing leisure. Market work, yes, the wage rate is the marginal productivity of labor, but we like to look at things that yield utility. So we usually look at things in terms of leisure for time use and C plus G goods for goods. These are what yield utility. And this is really critical to understanding comparative statics when we have a 3-time use and a 2-good model. 3-time uses being household production, market work, and leisure, and the 2 goods being perfect substitutes, consumption goods, and household produced goods. Bounded by time, 168 hours in a week. Have some V. Whoa, that was the first time that ever happened. We'll move V back. Have household production time. Have labor market time. Measuring time on my horizontal axis, and C plus G goods on my vertical axis, knowing that if I worked every single hour, I could be here at WT plus V. I have some starting utility. The point at which the wage line hits the household production curve. We'll call that A. We'll call this B. We'll call this C. This person, and I'm going to do this green. Maybe this will help us. This person will spend AO time in the household to start with, AB time in the market, and BC time in leisure. And this is where we're going to start. OA time in household production, AB time in the market work, and BC time in leisure. That's where we're starting. Now let's say that this individual faces an increase in their wage rate which will make their wage line steeper, and it will hit the household production curve sooner because the household production curve has a decreasing slope and the market wage curve just increased. Notice I'm not drawing a new indifference curve yet. I can identify the production substitution effect. Let's call this new point A prime. Just by looking at where the new budget line hits the original household production curve, because we're changing one thing at a time. We're changing the wage rate. We are increasing the wage rate in this graph. If I become more productive in the labor market sooner, I will substitute out of household production. My new time in household production is now O A prime. And I know that when my wage rate increases, I am going to spend less time in the household, and lo and behold, that is the production substitution effect. Now let's break this wage effect and its effect on market work and leisure into a consumption substitution effect and an income effect. So now I need a new indifference curve. And I'm going to call this B prime. Now, this is where things start to get hairy. I know for a fact that the total effect here, the total effect on leisure, it used to be BC, and now it's B prime C. What's happened? The line B prime C is bigger than BC, and leisure increased. That's the total effect. The total effect on market work, I need a different color. I don't know what this is. Oh, I can choose a different color here. Oh, let's make it orange. Market time went from AB, and the final thing is A prime, B prime. Now you have to figure out whether that line AB is smaller or bigger than A prime, B prime. And that's an empirical question. When leisure goes up and household goes down, it's the trade-off between the two. I do not know what is going to happen to the labor market. It's an empirical question. But let's break down this total effect here into an income effect and a substitution effect. How do I do that? I draw a line tangent to my original indifference curve, which is black, parallel to my new budget line, which is red. The new budget line is steeper. Let's call this C prime. Wow, I would like a consumption substitution effect. What's happened to leisure when it became more expensive? Well, leisure was originally BC. Actually, let's call this C star. Now, due to the consumption substitution effect, we have B, C star for leisure. And it went from BC to C star C, which means this said take less leisure. Does that make sense? The wage rate went up, leisure becomes more expensive, substitute out of it. So the consumption substitution effect says take less leisure. But I have an income effect. Real income increases. Remember, my final is B, C, or is B prime, C prime. So the movement from C star to B prime is my income effect. And the income effect says increase leisure. And we can see that this effect saying substitute out of leisure, which is B to C star, and this line, here's the consumption substitution effect from C star to B prime, is the income effect. The income effect outweighed the substitution effect, and I end up with an increase in leisure. So that's how you put together three effects in a household production model combined with labor market. The household production side or the production substitution effect just looks at the trade-off between H and M. The consumption substitution effect looks at the trade-off between M and L. And the income effect looks at the trade-off between M and L. So because the household is in there only once, theory gives an answer. But because M is in there 3 times and L is in there twice, you have to have numbers in order to determine the total effect on market work and leisure when you have either an increase or a decrease in the wage rate. So you should practice that, an increase in the wage rate, and then you should practice a decrease in the wage rate. And we'll pick up from there in class.